Marhaba, we are starting with Unit 2. So take out your textbook. We are on page 22, and you're going to take out your notebook and a pencil, and let's get started. So we are going to start off with the very first letter in the alphabet, and that is Alif. Let me make this thicker. Here we go. Alif. So if we have, let's say this is our notebook line. I'll make a couple lines here. Alif is the first letter. You're going to write the alif a few times. And the way that I would suggest that you take your notes is that you have the letter and then practice writing it. And then you're going to have a few notes on the letter. So its name is Alif. The name of this letter is Alif. Okay. And the sound that it makes is The sound that it makes is And Alif is a long vowel. And a long vowel means that it is a letter that elongates the sound of a consonant. Alif, Okay. Now, Alif is what I like to call a ride or die letter. This is not a fancy Arabic term, just what I like to use to make it easier for you to understand. There are two types of letters in Arabic. There are those that connect, okay, and then there's those that don't always connect. Okay. Alif is one of the latter. It's a letter that does not always connect. And the reason why I call it a ride or die is because it takes no new friends, which means that it'll connect to what comes before it, but it'll never connect to what comes after it. No new friends. Okay? So it's a ride or die. It only connects to what comes before and not what comes after. When it connects to what comes before, this is how we connect it. You have a connecting line, and then you simply draw the alif up like this. And that connecting line that we have right here, this portion is what will connect to some sort of letter before alif. Okay? But if I had another letter after the alif, it would not connect to it. Okay? So no new friends. It will never connect to what comes after it. So what sound does the alif make? Very good. So it is a long vowel, and there are 3 long vowels. So alif is one of the 3 long vowels that we have. So let's move on. Let's do a couple more letters, and then we'll be able to use the alif. The next letter that we have in the alphabet is the letter Ba. The letter Ba. And the way that we write the letter in its full form is like this. We have a vertical line, a horizontal line that's right on your notebook, and then a dot underneath. Notice the length and the height. If this was an alif, Ba is half of the height. Okay? And Ba, think of Ba as a boat. It makes the B sound, and it looks like a boat. It's a boat shape. And you can just pretend that the dot underneath represents water. That's what will help you remember that Ba is a boat and there's a dot underneath it. Okay? So this is the letter Ba. That's its name. And the sound that it makes is the B sound, the B sound. Okay. Now, Ba is a letter that is a consonant, which means it has its own sound, and it's a letter that connects. So when we learn letters that connect, we're going to learn 3 forms. Remember, we covered this in the first video. And that is what we call initial, medial, and final position. When ba is in initial position, what we do, I'll do it in red, is we take the first half of the letter ba and then we connect it to the next letter. So it'll look like that. So in your notebook, you're going to write a few times ba. And now let's try to connect a letter. I want you to take the letter ba and you're going to connect it to the letter alif. So ba is the first letter in this, which means you have to write it in initial position. Initial position means it's the first letter or it's only connected to something after it. So we're going to write it in initial position just like we did. And then we're going to connect the alif. And remember the alif we said was simply takes a connecting line and moves up because it connects to what comes before it. So I'm going to take this point right here where the ba is, and that's what I'm going to connect. So you're going to do it like this and connect like that. And when you pronounce it, we're going to pronounce it phonetically. So the letter ba makes the b sound. And what sound does the letter alif make? So put the two together, what do we get? Ba. Very good. Now you're going to do another connection. I want you to connect a ba plus an alif plus another ba plus an alif. So pause the video and come back. Okay, so the first ba that we have here, I'll do it in a different color so it stands out. The first ba that we have here is initial position because it's the first letter. So we got the first letter. Then it's connected to an alif. So alif connects with a connecting line and a straight line up. So now we've got the alif. Now I've got another letter ba. Okay. Can I connect that letter ba to this alif? Why not? We said that alif is a ride or die, which means no new friends. It will not connect to what comes after it. So if you have a ride or die letter in the middle of a word, the letter after it will always be written in initial position. Because remember, initial position means either it's the first letter of the word or it's connected to something after but not before. And that's the case here. So now we're going to write another ba in initial position, pretty close but not touching. And then another alif because the alif is now connected. So I want you to write that word a few times so you get comfortable with it. Okay. Now, how would we read that? You have a ba and an alif, and ba alif together makes what? Ba. And another ba and alif, which also makes the same sound. So put it together and you get baba. Very good. Good. So baba. And baba is traditionally what you call your dad. Baba. So congrats, you got your first word. Baba, written like this. Okay, we're now on page 24. Let's continue on. Ba is a letter, like I said, that connects on both sides. So when it is in medial position, what it does is we have a connecting letter, one vertical line up, and a connecting line right after. Okay, so it connects like this and like this. So you want to write that a few times. And I think I'll just erase right here so we can write in the same screen. Okay. Okay, so it connects medially. So I'm going to have you connect a couple of letters. These are not words. They're just helping you connect the letters together. Okay, because we only have 2 letters, so it's hard to create tons of words. So we're just going to connect some letters together and see if we can write them. So you're going to connect a ba with a ba and an alif. Pause the video and then come back. Okay, so that first ba is going to be an initial position. So it looks like this. That's the first ba. Okay. The second ba, I'll do in a different color, is going to look like this. medial. So we're going to take this connecting point, draw a vertical line up, and then put a dot underneath. That's our second ba. And then we have an alif. And how does alif connect? Is it going to be able to connect here? Yes, it will, because alif connects to what comes before it, not after it. So we take this connecting line at this point, and then we simply put an alif going up here. Okay, so now let's look at ba in final position, which means when it's at the end of a word, right, or when it's connected to something before, not after. And when it's in final position, you have a connecting line, and then it takes what we call its full form. And letters usually take their full form when they're in final position, when they're connected at the end. Okay? So now what I want you to do is you're going to connect 3 ba's to each other. If there was a word, and in that word it was 3-letter ba's, what would that look like? Every time I give you one of these, pause and then see how you did. So the first one is ba in initial position. The second one, it's sandwiched in between, so it is medial position. And the third one is final position. So look, final position takes both of its its vertical lines. So we're going to take that connecting line and do a full form ba. Notice how the first 2 are about half the size, and the last ba is its full size. So I want you to practice writing that a couple times. Okay, let's make it a little bit harder. Let's do, put a line here, a ba plus a ba plus a ba plus a ba. So what would it look like if you had 4 ba's connected to each other? Again, this isn't a word, it's just practice for writing. So you would have the first ba, initial position. The second ba is medial because it's in the middle. The third ba is also medial because it's in the middle. And then the final one, the last one, is in its full form. So when you look at these loops, you have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Okay, let's do another one. Let's connect, put a line here. Let's connect 3 letters. The letter ba plus an alif plus a ba. So pause it and come back. So the first letter ba is going to be in initial position. The alif is going to be connected because it connects to what comes before it. So we take that connecting line and we connect up. Can we connect that alif to the next letter though? We cannot. So we have only 1 letter left. And that letter is not connected to the alif and it's not connected to anything else. When you have this situation where you have a ride or die letter and you only have 1 letter after, you write that letter in its full form, not connected. And so its full form, not connected, is what we learned the ba originally to look like, which is just like this. So you take that shape and you write it. This right here is its full form, or what you call independent. Okay, there's a T back there. Independent form. So you have independent, you have initial, medial, and final. Now you're going to try to read this. The first letter ba, what sound does it make? Good, it makes the ba sound. And what sound does this alif make? And what sound does the ba make? The b sound. And whenever you have a letter at the end of the word, you stop on that sound. Just like in English, we stop on the sound. If I say, for instance, cat, what am I doing on the T? Cat. I just stop on the T. So it's the same thing here. Ba, alif, ba, b. Bab. So when we pronounce it, bab. هذا باب. Your first vocab word. What is bab? Door. So anytime I say this is a vocab word, you make sure that you write down that bab means door. Maybe draw a door next to it. It's probably better for you to have a picture so you can associate a picture or a meaning with the word as opposed to an English translation. Bab, door. Okay. Let's move on. We're going to flip the page. We're now on page 25. And we have done alif. We have done ba. And now we're going to do the letter ta. And ta looks like a ba. Okay. Looks like a ba. But it has 2 dots. So how I like to think of it is this. Ba is a boat. When the boat has 2 people on it, it becomes ta. Okay. So its name is ta, and its sound is the T sound. T. So our first 3 letters now we have our alif, ba, ta. Now, when letters have the same shape, they connect in the same way. The only difference is where the dot is. Okay, so in ba, the dot was below, and ta is 2 dots. Now, one other thing. When you have 2 dots like this, you can write the 2 dots out, or we can play connect the dots and put a horizontal line. So you can write the ta in either way. So now what I want you to do is you're going to pause the video, and you are going to write what the ta looks like initially, medially, and finally. Okay. So you should have had this initial position exactly like ba, but with the 2 dots on top. Medial position exactly like ba, but 2 dots on top. And final position, same thing. And if you want, you can write it like this with a line above it. Okay. So now let's practice writing some words or sounds. Okay. I want you to write the letter ta. Oops, let's make it a little bit thicker. You're going to write the letter ta, followed by a ta, followed by a ba. The first ta is in initial position. The second ta is in medial position. The third letter is a letter ba. There's a dot underneath. Same shape, but it's in final position. So if I want to write it one more time, it would look like this. And if you want to put it with the dots there, you can. Okay, now I'm going to do something opposite. We're going to practice dictation. I'm going to say a sound to you, and you're going to try writing it out based on spelling that word out. So sound it out. Okay? Bat. 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 So you hear a ba. So here's how we'll do it. When you have dictation, easiest way to do it in the beginning, sound the letters out first and then connect them. Okay? So you hear a ba. Bat. After the ba, do you hear a ah sound? Bat. Ah. You hear that ah? What letter is that? Good. That's an alif. Bat. What are we ending this sound on? Bat. Good. The letter ta. So here are the letters. Now you can connect them. So go ahead and connect it. Ba, initial position. Alif, connected. Make it a little bit neater. Does alif connect to the next letter? No, it cannot. So the next letter can only be an initial position or an independent form. So which one is it going to be? Good, it's going to be in an independent full form because there's no letter after it. But write it a few times, get comfortable with it. If you want to write it with dots, you can. If you want to write it as a line, you can do that too. Okay. So now we are going to move on to the letter Tha. So bottom of page 27 and top of page 28. The next letter is the letter Tha. Same shape. When the boat has 3 people on it. 1, 2, 3. It is a Tha. Okay. So the sound it makes is Tha. And it is the letter Tha. Now, when you have 3 dots, you can connect the dots. And if we connect 3 dots, we get a little carrot top. Okay. So now we have Alif, Ba, Ta, Tha. Alif, Ba, 1 dot. Ta, 2 people in the boat. Tha, 3 people in the boat. Now let's sound out the letter Tha. Because in English, you have 2 different TH sounds. Tha is like the TH in 3. Or the TH in thimble. It is very light. So let's write some characteristics. It is a very light and airy sound. What you are going to do to create this sound is you are going to put the tip of your tongue and you're going to touch it to the bottom of your front teeth. And then lightly let air pass in between. So what I would recommend is put your hand in front of your mouth and say Tha, Tha, Tha. As you gently touch your tongue to the bottom of the top teeth, you should feel air hitting your fingers that are in front of your mouth. Tha. That is the correct way of saying this letter. Do not push down your teeth on the tongue because then you'll get the. That's a different sound. So we want a light, airy sound. Tha. 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 So you're going to go ahead and write initial, medial, and final. Good. So initial, medial, final. And of course we can write it like this with a carrot top. Okay. If you're doing initial and medial, the dots and the carrot top go right above the vertical line, and in final position, it goes in the middle. Okay, so we are going to write out some words and sounds. You are going to connect the letter Tha with an Alif, with a Ba, and a Ta. So you should get Tha, initial position, followed by an Alif, so it connects here. Alif doesn't connect to the next letter, so the next letter has to be an initial position because there's multiple letters. Ba, and follow it with full form, Ta. Thabit. Tha, Alif, Tha, Ba, followed by the T sound, Bit. Thabit. Thabit. Okay. Now, one thing to note is if you're going to shorthand it, shorthanding meaning if you're connecting the dots, then you have to connect all the dots. If you're not connecting the dots, then be consistent and don't connect the dots in all of them. Okay. Let's do another one. Let's do thabt. Thabt. Thabta. Thabt. Sound it out. You hear tha. Thab. Thabt. ba followed by thabt, ta. So connect those together. Tha, initial, ba, medial, ta, final. Do it one more time. Notice when I'm writing the full word, what am I doing? Do you notice that I'm writing the shape first and then I'm going back to put the dots? So that's how you actually want to write it. You want to practice as much as you can. Right now you're doing one letter at a time. But once you get the word, practice writing the shape of the word and then going back in and putting the dots. Okay. So now what you want to do is you want to look at drill 3 on page 29. Okay. I'm going to say one of those pairs of words, so you can pause and get to that page. I'm going to say one pair of those words of each of them, and you're going to tell me which word is it? Which sound do you hear? Okay, so let's look at number 1. But. But. Which one am I saying? But. What does it end in? A T sound. So which one does it have to be? Very good. It has to be this one. But. Okay, let's do another one. Number 2. Tub. 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 What letter does it start with? T, t, the T sound. So which one of these two starts with the T sound? Remember, we start from right to left. This one. Very good. Okay. Thabat. 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 Which one starts with a tha? Right here, 3 dots. So we're saying this one. What letter does this start with? Good. That is a letter ba. Okay, let's do another one. Number 4. And you have your book in front of you, so it's much neater and clearer. Thab. 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 Starts with the letter th. Very good. Th. And I just realized I did the numbering wrong, but that's okay. So this is practice with writing the letters. So what I want you to do now is you are going to continue on with the assignment. And the assignment for this one is drill 2. And then in the next video, we're going to move on and we're going to cover the rest of the long vowels. Okay, part 2. We are now going to continue on, and we have done so far, you tell me, alif, ba, ta, tha. Alif, ba, ta, tha. We're going to move on to 2 letters here, and these are going out of order. These 2 letters are actually at the end of the alphabet, but we have to do them right now because they are long vowels. So, in this lesson, we're talking about long vowels. And I told you that there are 3 long vowels in Arabic. You've already done one of them. What is one of them? It is the alif. Very good. And alif makes what sound? The ah sound. So we're now going to move on to the next 2 long vowels. And these 2 vowels are letters that are very special in that they have a bunch of different qualities. So let's do the first one that we want to cover. And that is, do it in green, the letter wow. Wow. How amazing. So this is the letter wow. The name of this letter is wow. The sound that it makes, wa. However, it has a second sound. So let's do a couple of things first. Let's write the letter wow a few times. It has a loop that goes above the line and a tail that falls below the line. So write the letter wow a few times. Now, the characteristics of the letter wow. It is a letter that is a ride or die. What does that mean? It means that it connects to what comes before. It does not connect to what comes after. So what does it look like when it connects? Simply have a connecting line and connect the wow. And if there's a letter that's after it, it will not connect. Okay. The second thing that we want to know is that wow has two sounds. The two letters that we're about to do, both of them have two sounds. They're very special letters. And they're the only letters in the alphabet that have two sounds. Okay. Now, the two sounds that we have, one is its consonant sound. And the consonant sound is the W, the W sound. Okay. So if I had a wow followed by an alif. So if this is my line, remember the wow here doesn't connect to the next letter. So we just write alif close to it. How would I pronounce that? I'd have the W sound. And then the alif is the long vowel here. Wa. Wa. That would be the sound. So the consonant sound means when it has its own sound. And the times that it has its own sound are usually, not always, but usually, when the wow is in the beginning of a word or the beginning of a syllable. Okay? Syllable meaning the part of the word. Okay? So I'll give you an example. Thawab. Th, that's the first part of the word. Wab, that's the second part of the word. So in the first part of the word, th, second part of the word, wa. Notice wow starts the second syllable, so it's making the consonant sound. Okay. If we were to write that out, we would put th, the letter th, wa, 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 wa. Wow connects, but it doesn't connect to what comes after it. The wa, ah, ah. What makes the ah sound? Good, is an alif. So we're going to put the alif close to the wow, but not connected. And remember, alif also doesn't connect to the next letter. So we're going to put the ba by itself. Thawab. So here, wow is functioning as a consonant sound, making the W sound because it's the beginning of that syllable. The second sound that the wow makes, and that's what I want to focus on here, is the long vowel sound. And the reason why we're focusing on that is because we're talking about long vowels. And the long vowel sound that it makes is oo, oo, the long oo sound. Okay? So I want you to write the word toot, 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 toot. You hear a ta in the beginning. What do you hear after the ta? To, ooh. What makes the ooh sound? The wow. So we're going to put a wow. What does it end with? To, t, t, t. Another ta. So now connect these. Ta, initial position, connected to the wow. Wow doesn't connect to the next letter, and there's only one letter, so we're going to write it in its full form. Toot. Write it a few times. If you want to write it like this, that's fine. Toot. Vocab word. Vocab word is on page 30, and it means berries. Okay. It can mean specifically mulberries, but you can just use it for berries. What you'll notice in your textbook, if you look at page 30, on the bottom of the page, you see the word toot, just like this, and it's in red. And in parentheses, it says mulberries. That's where I'm getting the vocab words from. The vocab words that you are required to know how to say and write are the ones that are embedded in the textbook, that are in red, and in parentheses have the English translation. The vocab lists that are in the book at the end of each chapter are only the words that we'll be using in our practicing of speech. So we'll practice saying those words and using them in phrases and sentences on Flipgrid. But when it comes to your written quizzes, your tests, your exams, the ones that I'm going to require you to know how to write, how to read, and how to say are these ones that are embedded in the text. Okay, so now let's move on. Let's go back to our little chart of long vowels. And now we have alif, makes the ah sound. And wow, when it's a long vowel, what sound does it make? Ooh. And then we have to do our third one. Okay. So let's do a word before we do this third one. Okay. I'm going to give you a word. You're going to write it down. Tabut. 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 Okay, what's the first letter you hear? Oops. You hear the letter ta. Ta. What makes the ah sound? Alif. Very good. Boo. B. You hear a B sound? Taboo. What makes the oo sound? That's wow when it's a long vowel. And what's the last letter? Taboo. Another ta. So now connect them. Initial position ta, connected to an alif. Alif is ride or die. There's multiple letters after it, so the next letter has to be initial position. Boo. Wow connects, but it doesn't connect to what comes after it. And because there's only one letter after, we're going to write it in its independent full form. Tabut. Tabut. It means casket. Kind of morbid, but it won't be a vocab word. So now let's do the last one. The last long vowel that we have, we're moving on to page 31 and 32. And that is the letter ya. The letter ya. Excuse me. So we're going to flip our page here. We're on page 32. The letter ya. Okay. It looks like a duck. You have a little bit of a loop on the top, and then we have the base right here. So I want you to write the letter ya a few times. Let's do it a little bit better than that. Okay. Looks like a little duck. If you look at the top of page 32, you can trace over that sheet. Okay. There's also a handbook, the Arabic Letters and Sounds handbook, which you can also purchase. And in that, it's got tracing sheets. So if you want to purchase that, you can do that. Okay, a couple of things about the letter ya. Its name is ya. And the sound that it makes when it's a consonant is the Y sound, the ya sound. Let's go over its characteristics. It is a letter that connects. Okay, it connects on both sides. We'll go over the connection in a second. And it also, similar to the wow, has two sounds. There's two sounds that the letter ya makes. The first one is its consonant sound. When it's making its own sound, it's the Y sound, ya. Same thing, it's the beginning of the word or the beginning of the syllable. Okay. And the second sound is when it's a long vowel. And when it's a long vowel, it's elongating another consonant. So it's taking the sound of a consonant and elongating it. And when it does that, the sound that it makes is E. So now the vowel sounds that we have are A, U, E. So we said here, Alif makes A, Waw makes U, Ya makes E. These are the three vowel sounds, long vowel sounds that you have. A, U, E. So now let's look at how the ya connects. The ya is a letter that connects. Okay, it's not like the alif or the waw. It connects on both sides. And it's a little bit funky. When it's in initial position, it looks like the ba, ta, and tha, but the two dots are underneath. How are you going to remember this? Well, the ta is two people on the boat, so the dots are on top. The ya, think of it like a duck, and these are its feet, so the dots are below. So how would I write ya, ya? We would start with a ya, making the Y sound. And what makes the ah sound? Alif. Ya. And ya is a term that you use to show someone that you're talking to them, to get their attention. In Old English, it would be like saying, oh, so-and-so. Right? If you're talking to someone, like if you were talking to me, you would say, ya ustada, oh teacher. It's not an old Arabic way of speaking. It's actually used in present day. So whenever you're talking to someone, to show respect to them and to let them know that you're giving them your attention, you say ya and their name. Ya Fatima, Ya Khadija, Ya Khalid, Ya Muhammad, Ya Layla, Ya George, Ya Mary. Okay? So ya, you're referring to someone. So that is ya in initial position. In medial position, it also looks like the ba, ta, and tha, but it has the two dots underneath. And in final position, like most letters, it takes its full form. So it's going to connect. This point is where it's connected, and then it's going to take its full form. Okay. So let's try to write some words. I'm going to give you a sound. You're going to write it out. It's got quite a few letters. Tathbeet. 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 You have a ta. Tath. What letter is that? Good. B. Tathbi. B. Letter ba. Tathbeet. What makes the E sound? We just did it, the letter ya. Tathbeet. Ending with a ta. Now connect them. Ta, initial position. Tha, medial position. Ba is also medial. Ya is medial. It's on both sides. It's connected. So remember, what does it look like? This is the number one mistake students make. They always want to draw the whole ya out. It's medial here. So it's going to take the same shape, but two dots underneath. And then you have the final ta. It's going to take its full form. So notice the shape here, where these first few letters are all shorter, and then the final ta, and the final ta is longer. Tathbeet. So now what I want to do is I want to help you to remember these letters. We're going to make a chart, okay? And this is going to be a consonant vowel chart. So along the top, we're going to have our three vowels. A, U, E. Okay. And along the bottom or the side of the chart, we're going to have our consonants. Ba, ta, tha. And now wow and ya are also consonants because remember they have two sounds. So pause, make this chart, and come back. So this chart is going to help you. Consonant. So consonants on this side and vowels, long vowels on this side. So when you have the letter ba and an alif, what sound do you get? Ba. So when you're doing this, you're going to say to yourself, ba, alif, ba. Ba, alif, ba. Ba, wow. Connect them, we get boo. Boo. Ba, ya. Be. So the long vowel sounds with the letter ba are going to be ba, boo, be. Ba, boo, be. And when you write the ya with the shape of the ba, ta, tha, sometimes you'll see people write it like this, where the ba seems like it's right above the letter ya. Okay? You can do it either way. Okay, so pause. You're going to do the letter ta. Ta, alif, ta, ta, wow, tu, ta, ya, ti. Pause and do the letter tha. Tha, alif, tha, tha, wow, thu, tha, ya, thi. Now, wow. The first wow here is the consonant, and the second wow up here functions as a vowel. Because remember, when it's in the beginning of the syllable, it makes its consonant sound. Wow, alif, wa. What would two wows sound like? The first wow is the W sound. The second one is oo, woo. Wow, ya, down the slide, wee. So if it helps, you can write these out for yourself. Make sure that you're doubling that sound. Ba, boo, be. Ta, tu, ti. Tha, thu, thi. And go ahead and do ya. Ya, initial position. Ya, alif. Ya, like ya, so-and-so. Ya, wow. You. Ya, ya. Hear ye, hear ye. Ye. So ya, you, ye. And of course you can write it like this where you're just connecting the lines. And ye, you have it in my name, tazyin. It's a Y with a E after it. So now every consonant that we do, you can put it in this long vowel chart. And that'll help you with the pronunciation, the sounds, and the syllables, because these are the syllables that we're using to make a word. Okay? So I'm going to end it off with this. If you were to transliterate the word YouTube, okay? So many of you guys are on YouTube. This video is on YouTube. So if you were to transliterate that into Arabic, how would you write that? YouTube. YouTube. Pause and think about it and then come back. You're going to start with a ya, making the Y sound. What makes the oo sound? That's going to be the wow. Wow doesn't connect, so the next letter is initial position. T, the ta sound. Ooh, again, tu. Wow doesn't connect, so the next letter is the last letter here, which is ba. YouTube. Notice YouTube, these two sounds of the vowels are exactly the same. In English, you write them differently. But remember in lesson 1, I said that Arabic is phonetic, which means that whatever the sound of the letter is, it will always sound the same wherever it is. It's never written differently. So it's less confusing as it is in English because the sound will always stay consistent. YouTube. So now we're going to move on. You're going to do the dictation drills, and then the next session we'll be doing short vowels. So remember one more time. What are our long vowel sounds? Alif is a, wow, u, ya, e.